Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Big Kahuna, Scott, Ostrander, Bob. It's the show. We're doing viewer questions. I got questions.
Round Kahuna.
Kahuna.
Round.
Jay Blaze, 17 hours ago. Hey, Bob. I have very bad well water, and I had a horribly stinky, rotten egg smell to it. I don't use it for my plants. I've been using Primo water from Walmart and other stores since 2013. It's been hurting my pockets. It's a hassle to lug them from the car, then house. Is there anything I can do to my well water to make it better? I have the ideal inline garden hose filler. What's that thing? Yeah, filter. But that's more for chlorine. Is there an RO system that is good for sediments? He's got sediments. What has he got, like calcium in there or something?
Oh, if it's eggy smelling, it's sulfur.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty common. I wonder if he's in Michigan. Because they have a lot of sulfur in the water. No, actually, northern Michigan's rich in sulfate water.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cabin always smell like sulfur in eggs. Yeah, I mean, probably an RO system. I think I'd probably add up all my gallons I've bought over the years from Walmart.
Figure out when it makes sense.
And go, well, if I spent $3,000 on water, then, going to, what is it, Hydrologic, they make all those different big boy filters and RO filters, and go to hydrologic.com, check out their website, even reach out. They're really intelligent people. They are water solution people.
Okay, so they can help you with your problem more than so they're just selling you a thing. They'll help you to get sorted out.
I've sent a lot of farms to them, and they're like, man, it's amazing. You send them their water report, and they tell you which filters they need. So they may even have a specific sulfur filter, or if you've got a lab report of your water, which you should have one if it's municipal, the city should have one.
Well, this is well water.
Well, and if it's a well, then your county should have your well results. It's a federal law.
Okay.
So the county should have them, and then if you can share those with somebody like at Hydrologic, then you'd be amazed at what you got.
All right. Okay. 80s music is life. What's your favorite 80s band?
I was into rap then, so...
Like Sammy Hagar. My guy.
Oh, 80s?
Yeah, I mean, not just 80s.
But so many people carried over from the 70s into the 80s, like Pink Floyd.
That's true, yeah. You know what's funny? The one that I did not like then that I kind of like now is Duran Duran. They were kind of a girl group back then, but they seem like they it aged well.
Did they?
I think so.
Oh, their music aged well.
Their music aged well.
Oh, I think you just matured in music taste.
That could be. Okay, he says, we're going to get to the question now. So, the cocoa that comes in the block, are they the same as mentioned in the video? And any info would be appreciated. Thank you, guys. So he's talking about, those blocks of cocoa. Now, all those blocks of cocoa are not created equal themselves, right? I mean, some are different than others. Is there cocoa blocks that are not good, or are they all just, some are saltier than others?
Well, I mean, cocoa now, core fiber is a commodity.
Yeah.
So most people are buying it from a commodity broker.
So you don't know.
You don't even know where it's coming from. I've had, we used to buy from a large cocoa corporation, and 1 month they would never hydrate, they wouldn't expand, and when they did, it was 1,400 parts per million. The next week it'd be 250 parts per million. They'd explode when you hit them with water. I mean, different regions, different growing techniques, different water, different sodium levels. Not all cocoa is the same.
You know what I call my cocoa company?
Ajit.
Cocoa.
Cocoa.
So, when you see it in a bag, it is certainly different. Your bag, someone else's bag, the other ones, it's made to fit the nutrients of that company, I would assume.
Is that the question?
No, he's asking if it's the same what's in the when you get a block, is that the same as what's in the bag?
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, I mean, yes and no. For us, it's a little less.
Yeah.
Less salt in the bag than in the brick, because we do hydrate and wash it.
Yeah.
Most people will chip it and put it right in a bag afterwards. So they chip it through like a tree chipper.
Okay.
And mist it with a mister bar. So there's your wash.
Okay.
It goes right into a bagging machine and goes in at like 15% moisture content.
So, to fit with the Nectar nutrient line, you try to take salt out of it to make it work that way. But that is not the only thing going on. It's actually soaked down and it's still in its fibers, as opposed to some places. There's probably some people that do that too, but very few. Most of them chip it up. And
yeah,
so
most just get in the brick and don't spend the time. It's not cost effective to pre-hydrate and flock out. You know, some of the smaller cocoa companies will, or soil manufacturers, but the big monsters, I mean, they don't have the time. It's just not affordable. And you know, if they're buying decent cocoa for the most part, if you're getting it from the same farm, you know your thing. Like, I would be comfortable if I was a huge manufacturer of potting soil. I'd be comfortable with our source to just chip it. I don't think it's ever coming over 150 parts per million. But you know, we don't risk it. We make sure that our cocoa that comes in is the same as it was in the last boatload that we got. So
if someone, there are advantages over not chipping it, obviously, or you wouldn't go to the trouble. Why is it better?
Texture and pith. I mean, cocoa pith is it's the structure. So if you shred the structure, you're getting cocoa dust. Cocoa dust hydrated versus cocoa pith, expanded, creates more of a. You've put your hand in it. It feels like little pearls and little fibers. If you shred all that when it's dry, those little pearls become dust and the fibers become small.
Do you think that makes it kind of when you get that clumpy, not clay kind of thing, but just like it turns into a rock? Is it gets more solid when you take the structure out of it? Does that help it stay looser and goosier?
They're hydrophobic.
Yeah.
Cocoa is either won't let go of water or won't rehydrate once it's dry.
I gotcha.
So if they just chip it and there's a chunk in there, that will sit in your bag forever until it actually is either broken down or finally hydrates just through osmosis.
Okay. So no, it's not the same. But,
not always the same.
But if you were, there's nothing wrong with that block, getting that block and preparing it yourself.
No, and that's it.
It out.
Make your own soils. If you're in a region you just can't get good potting soils, and you have access to bricks and you have access to peat and perlite, there's your mix.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah.
The key is hydrating your cocoa, letting it naturally flock up, then testing that to see what your parts per million are, and if they're really high, I'd recommend flushing it.
How do you dry that stuff out? Do you have to dry it out, or what do you?
Well, with that, I would say you poke holes in the bottom of the trash can, put another trash can inside and stand on it, just kind of squeeze it out. Yeah, we squeeze ours out with an orange juice squeezer, where most people just don't hydrate them.
I got you. So you got the guys in there with just that little thing. There's.
Yep, taking coconuts. It takes like 40 minutes per bag. So we don't sell a lot of soil. It's just a couple pallets a day.
Dalai Mama. See, at first I thought it was Dalai Lama.
Way better.
Big golfer. Big hitter, the Lama.
All right. So I got that going for me. She's nice.
He says, doesn't the... it's probably a she. It was Dalai
Mama.
Yeah. Doesn't the pH range differ because of how nutrients are made available in cocoa versus soil?
That question is odd. How is it made? I guess my question there is, how are nutrients made available?
Well, I guess what I'm curious about is it feels like that when you're using synthetic things, you've got a little different process going than when you're using natural inputs. Where there is no soilless input. There is no soilless when you're using natural inputs in a fashion.
Yeah. No, and that's it. How I hear that question is, why is yours at a higher pH than most cocoa-based nutrient lines? And most nutrient lines are NPK-driven nutrient lines.
That's where they're getting calcium there, right? Like a calcium nitrate or
magnesium nitrate. Yeah. But for the most part, they're nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and those are all low pH uptake elements.
Yeah.
Or most efficient, and
the biggest part of the curve is low.
Yeah. And for the most part, every big manufacturer in the industry, that's what the basis was. So traditionally in our industry, if you're cocoa growing, you ran at a lower pH because to a lot of these people, they feel calcium's being robbed from the plant by the cocoa from adhering. What we found is if you buffer that cocoa and you wash out all that sodium, the calcium isn't tying up to cocoa. That the calcium is still very widely available in our nutrient line as long as there's no sodium present to tie it up.
I got you. Does that tying up to the sodium, does that affect the pH level?
It should.
It doesn't affect it. It's just you're trying to avoid that. And I guess
you're saying... the pH level in the medium, cocoa should be neutral no matter what.
Yeah.
And so if you're at a 7 cocoa coming out of the brick, and you're in a synthetic nutrient line, let's say GH3 part, their availability rate's 5.7 to 6.1. So follow their availability rate because they've run the test, the labs, and everything. They know that that's where that nitrate, that phosphorus, and that potassium is most available. Well, ours are not driven by nitrate, potassium, and phosphate.
Uh-huh.
It's all run by some form of calcium,
Yeah.
which is going to be in that 6.1 to 6.6, 6.8 mark.
But even still up here working on that calcium, you're still getting a fat part of the curve with the other
Well,
three.
it's all relative at that point. It's just, do you open the mouth this big or this big?
Yeah.
So, synthetic nutrients are designed to feed the plants and then dissipate and wash away. Ours is to feed the plants and then hold up in the medium, feeding a microbial body to then turn around and turn that food back into absorbable food again. So it's just a whole different ballgame.
So it's an apples and oranges situation once again. That's kind of how it's going to be with all these questions about cocoa and the pH.
Yeah.
Conventional wisdom versus what we're doing.
It's just we're a different beast, and so you can try running the 5.7 to 6.1 with nectar in there, and you're not going to be pleased with the outcome. You're not going to get a big yield. You're going to have some issues. You'll definitely have clawing and calcium deficiencies because if you're putting all this calcium in, but at 5.7 or 6, it's just not available to the plant in that calcium phosphate.
So it's just it's a different bonding of the calcium. I mean, that's on the most basic level. It's kind of just difference.
It's just, if you can imagine your mouth for nitrogen is this big, and calcium your mouth needs to be this big. This is 5.7 and this is 6.4.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get to 6.4 calcium molecule. Oh,
my fitness regimen. I can't fit this sandwich in my mouth.
I can't fit my fist in my mouth, so that's good.
Can
you?
No. Not even close. Closer!
Almost.
Closer!
Right.
I'd be afraid I couldn't get it out.
That'd be my fears, and I'd go to the hospital and explain that one. Oh, you're back. Why?
It was a video I was doing. Oh my god.
Yeah, sure. 1 in a million, Doc. 1 in a million.
So, Tommy Metalface, who's your favorite metal band? I'll tell you mine. Cinderella.
That's a hair band.
Well, you're right. Okay. What about Rat? Would you call him a hair band or a metal band? Okay, then I would
This guy's now not, he's going back to elite nutrients.
Okay, I would say Judas Priest. I like AC/DC. Would you call them heavy metal? I mean, obviously they are, but
heavy metal. Yeah, they're rock and roll, though.
Yeah, I mean, you think of them as a metal band, but they're really more kind of rock and roll kind of thing.
But they were skilled.
Yeah.
And Metallica up until they sued everybody. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Until they decided to sue everyone.
Who was that?
Iron
Ace
Maiden.
of Spades. That guy. It's that. I can't think of it. Doesn't matter.
Again, I like rap in the 80s.
Did you ever do any breakdancing?
I actually, paid for some lessons my junior year.
Nice!
I am not good at it still. Pretty good guy.
Hey, Bob. Is it okay to use Triton in the final flush before harvest along with Demeters and Herc? I was just curious if it had any ill effects or any good effects. Great show as always. Let me know what the beard says. I'll let you know in just a second. If you will. Thanks.
I personally do not. I know guys who do say they love it, depending on the genetic, but some
What
guys
are they trying to get across? What are they trying to do?
Well, they're trying to, because we call it ripening.
Yeah, sure.
And so, not flushing. And what a lot of people have found is if, especially the guys that are growing the gassier genetics, they find that it really helps bring out that gas at the end.
Okay.
We call it ripening with the Herc because the Herc is kind of filling in that last bit of density of the flower. Triton doesn't give you the density.
Okay.
But it gives you the enhancement.
Well, if you were doing both.
I would say give it. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't, and only because
you don't like.
And I know the smell. No, it's not even that. It's the dang smell of Triton. This is so bad that
it comes through a little bit to you, or you just can't.
It's a placebo. I feel I know I smell, but if anybody ever flushed and gave me their flower, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. It's just one of those where consciously I know how nasty it smells, and I just can't bring myself to do it. I put the Aphrodites and Herc in. That's my finishing up. But I know guys who do that. I know some really great growers who have done that and swear by it, but I can't attest to it other than testimony from another grower.
Now, what about the Demeters?
I don't put any Demeters in pretty much weeks 7 and 8. I mean, the last 2 weeks, that's when I pull out because I'm not trying to make more magnesium available, and I certainly don't want to chelate anything. It's bringing
you don't want to keep
stuff.
going.
I'm shutting things down at that point. So I think he might have meant Aphrodites in that.
That makes more sense. Okay. Okay. Eric Wren. Where's Bob? Bob. Here.
Bob.
I was absent for a couple of days. Might have been a little longer. I'm not sure.
Isn't that the vacation?
No, I had my vacation, but then when you were gone, I was doing other things because I needed your assistance and didn't want to call you because
you would have been fired. Because I went on vacation.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bug you, so I just tried to stick it out. Anyway,
Good job.
I have a 150-gallon resi and a 70. I guess he means reservoir, not resume. For the larger one using... I'm going to start over. Where's Bob? Bob, I have 150-gallon resi and a 70. For the larger one using CES 3-part with Herc and Demeters, can I use pumps to keep suspended for just mix and at the time it takes to water?
Yeah.
Just for when it just when water. Yo, pig farmer, come back and see me very soon. Damn tasty. I guess he's a pig farmer aficionado. So he's talking about just doing this, suspending it in the
So
same...
he's running...
CES,
yeah,
three-part?
not culture. Sorry, cutting edge solutions.
Cutting edge solutions. He's using the Herc and the Demeters with it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's. If you were using all nectar, can you suspend it? And if you are using just some nectar,
that's really common. People mix up the 8 parts of nectar in a 300-gallon, or 500-gallon, 1,000-gallon. Keep it all agitating with
while
one
you're
pump
rolling,
while watering with another pump.
Okay.
So as long as you're fully agitating until until your pump is down.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. The one thing I can tell you, knowing you're running Cutting Edge, which is a great product line, but I would recommend adding your recommended dose of Herc and what's the other one?
Demeters.
Demeters. Put that in first. Let it be
going.
Let it get in there and turning it. Then add in all your Cutting Edge parts to that, whether it's the 3 or 5 parts of theirs.
Yeah.
Mix all that up and then feed, and you'll have less chemical. You'll be taking our bone meal product and putting it in with water, letting it dissolve out and react to the 120-gallon reservoir versus reacting to a nutrient-dense solution feed. Because I don't want to hurt anything that Cutting Edge is built in there.
Right.
So if ours is mixed in with the water first, it's not going to react to the Cutting Edge as much.
Do you do anything with the pH on this setup, or do they do that after with the CS? I don't know. I'm just curious. I mean, however they do it.
Yeah, he didn't ask that question.
Yeah. No, we don't need to get into that.
No, I mean, you still want so when you're in the middle of the game like that, because Cutting Edge makes a really nice, clean product.
Yeah.
And their stuff can still be available at that 6.1 to 6.3. When I get guys hybriding, I tell them to stick in the low 6s because you're still going to get our calcium.
Split the difference.
Try to.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't go to 5.9 because you're still not there with our product. But if you're in the 6.1, 6.3, you're giving everybody a chance to get into the plant.
Okay. Jacob Flores. What would be a good nectar newt for density on an outdoor grow?
Herculean.
I mean, that's far and away, right? I mean,
yeah. Do the Herc, maybe dabble in Chaos, gently water that in with the Herc. But pretty much that midweek till the end, that's the time to really solidify your flowers. Outside of that, it's genetics or lighting. Oh,
this is a much longer question than that. What would be a good nectar newt for density on an outdoor grow? Questions about Bloom Chaos foliar feeding. Background. I am doing an indoor grow and using Nectar for the Gods. I guess it's different questions.
Different questions. Yeah. This guy has
Same guy.
3 questions.
I am doing an indoor grow and using Nectar for the Gods for the first time.
Oh, this name got cut off.
Oh, okay.
This person will know what it is because he has 3 questions.
Okay, so he's got some questions.
Mystery Person 999.
Mystery 999, yep. Fussy Pants 999. Fiddly Fart. Jimmy Choo.
I feel lawsuits happening.
I'm sure he's a wonderful fellow. I shouldn't have used those somewhat deleterious.
Fart. Good old Fiddly Fart. I was going to name my son Blenderhead originally. My wife didn't let me.
I am doing an indoor grow and using Nectar for the Gods for the first time. I am doing the Greek regimen and will follow the feeding schedule, doing feed tea, feed flush once a day. I am also using Bloom Chaos as a foliar feed during veg and early bloom. My water is RO. I add a little bit of Folon every time, right? So yeah, okay. For foliar spray, I am adding Bloom Chaos and pHing it to 6.2. Should I use anything else? Folon? Like, should he push the Folon or just a little for the water is what I guess he's asking. You want to get into that one or get into the second?
Well, I'd like to know what your I mean, basically, when you're doing a foliar feed of chaos, I don't like to pH adjust it too much because you're going to react it. If you have to bring it up, you're reacting it. If
with the limestone, it's going before it gets to the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now it just becomes a kelp spray or a fulvic spray. But so my question back is, what's your pH when you just mix in chaos? If it's between 6.0 and 6.6, 6.7, I just water foliar feed as is.
Okay.
The key with foliar feeding is 7 and under, because you're trying to break the wax cuticle of the plant to get the stomata to open up and eat.
This is not about availability, it's about getting in there.
Because you're not forcing calcium in. We're not trying to. Calcium in the root zone is more critical than pH in your foliar. Foliar, you want to be more acidic so it gets penetrates through the wax.
Okay. Can it be too acidic?
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you got some bad water, you got a problem. Yeah.
Well, and when you have low pH surfaces, that's when things like powdery mildew stuff up, because they love unhealthy plants. So, but 6 to 6.6, you're in perfect range. Okay. Even 5.9, 5.8. I mean, you're not trying to force calcium in through the leaf. You're just trying to bring it into the
Okay. I have been making 16-ounce batches of foliar spray each time and spraying 5 plants in an indoor tent. The plants are very small now in early veg. I never use up the full batch of foliar spray. Can I save it and use it again next day, or do I need the full amount to make each day?
You can use it the next day, and even the day after that, it just becomes less and less reactive. Still effective, just not reactive. So you're not going to see, I mean, the longer it sits, the more it's reacting in the bottle. Yeah. So even 3 days from now, you're still giving them a full power fulvic spray and kelp spray. So you're still getting all the
but not getting the
chaos.
Not getting the chaos effect.
Yeah. So
chaos effect.
Fresh is going to give you the best. Definitely, I keep my spray bottle around for 3 to 4 days because I never go through a whole quart on 6 plants. So mine will last 3 to 4 days.
Why do you suppose we don't just do half a bottle? I never do either. It seems like
you could.
Yeah, I know, it's funny. Just don't. Okay, number 3. Do I foliar spray every day or spray only on feed days?
Depending on your calcium input and how healthy they are and how, if they're struggling at all, I'd only do on feed days. If everything's just amazing and doing great, then you can feed them every day. Foliar feed them every day.
Because you should get on your feed day, on your tea day, you're still going to be getting something.
Oh, you're releasing something. Yeah. The biggest trick is, if you have a healthy reserve in the soil, you can foliar feed them a lot. But once that reserve runs out, you'll see it rather rapidly just discontinue it, get your nutrients back in there, and then start back up.
If you went so far as to where you could see a problem, would you back off entirely or just back off on you just stop?
Oh, I tell people all the time. It's like, okay, you see that? Now let's stop. Yeah. Let's go ahead and start doing this, hammer feeding here, and then get them back on track, and then start back up. But, again, it's like Pig says, it's a throttle. If you feel like you're going downhill and just the wheel starts doing this, let go of the gas, because you keep giving it gas, it's going to get out of control.
Had that happen many times.
Oh yeah.
You don't pull out that wildly. So it's not about the feed tea days. It's about too much or not enough and backing
off.
Up.
Whether or not your plant can handle it. Yeah. And the other problem, a lot of people will say, by foliar feeding every single day or using this stuff every day, it builds up a plant that has a food tolerance, that could outdo a sumo wrestler.
And so it's costing you money, and it's costing you that you have to be there every day. You can't take a day off because you got to go
feed. And then right now I got a customer on the East Coast that no matter what, 1,800 parts per million mid flower feeding, his slurry test comes in 110. And it's just like you couldn't eat more. And it's the same thing. We programmed them all the way from beginning of veg all the way into bloom to eat, and gave them so much chaos that now they are just set to just give me an IV of bone meal and we'll be okay.
It's like those pump you up guys.
Hans and Franz.
Hans and Franz. Pump you up.
Pump you up.
Focal grows. Nice snippet of info, Bob. I'm not sure which video this was on, but thanks. He says, thanks, bud. I recently switched a plant that I was feeding can of cocoa nutrients to the Nectar line. I am in the 2nd week of veg and slurries have been staying in range for the mid-veg feed. I am wondering if it is recommended to have to go through all the phases, early, mid, late veg, to ease the plant into flower, or can I slam her early into flower at the point I want to flower, which will be soon because these sexy bitches love nectar. Can you just decide when to flower? Is that the question? I didn't understand exactly.
Well, it kind of sounds like he's got something that he's transitioning over, and he's a little concerned about just slamming him into flour without transitioning more with the nectar.
Oh, so he's feeling like he could flour if he was doing his normal routine.
Yeah.
But because he's doing this, should he ease into it until he gets transitioned over?
My big question back would be, what's your slurry numbers? Let's see what they look like before you put the light over. The main goal is to get rid of the fast food and start offering the salad bar and seeing how your plants are going to respond. I hate switching them that soon from the veg and a different type of nutrition that's all nitrate and phosphate based.
Yeah.
Switching them over to a protein and calcium based line.
Then boom.
I don't want you getting bloom and have them just stressed. So check your slurries. If your slurries are in that 250 to 350 mark, your pH is in the mid 6s or 6.4, 6.5, then I would say go for it.
But in an abundance of caution, even as you go for it, you might take it a little easy.
Well, yeah, don't slam them right into the chaos.
Yeah.
Don't mess with them. Just go with the normal feedings. And don't be afraid to do a couple Herculean and Gaia flushes between now and switching them. Because that kind of just helps clean out the root zone, charges the soil with calcium, and then the Gaia just gives them that big transition punch of nutrition to help them start accepting the new type of food.
So you're somewhat flushing with the Herc, but you're also giving them something to eat as they're doing it with the Gaia? Is that the thinking behind that?
Giving them another. It's like getting a little kid from eating pudding and going, here's some broccoli. So it's really hard to get them to want to eat the broccoli. So if you give them taste of the broccoli while you're giving them the flush, they'll still eat and they'll start to know that these are the new food sources.
I got you. Okay. Kurt's review. Hi, Kurt here. Scott, what do you think about pH up baking soda? And will it harm any good bacteria, etc.? Can it be harmful? I am a Fox Farm Happy Frog Ocean Forest mix. Seedlings, light, worrier, I'm not sure. So you can give me guidance on your product. Use as my sample kit will arrive Monday, and I'd like to get the full effect from your product. So he's switching over.
Then get rid of the baking soda because that's a salt.
That's not going to work, yeah.
No, it will do more harm. And baking soda, it raises your pH up. But what I've had a lot of people say when they add that to our mix, because ours is acidic, that is a super base. When you mix them together, it's called a volcano.
Oh, it's like the Mentos.
It's like vinegar and baking soda with red dye is a volcano. So you'll get excessive foaming. It turns to a salt. It is not beneficial to the microbial field. It's like a great cheater, like holy crap, I'm out of every pH up in the house and I have to make a feed. That would work. I would not use it continuously and religiously because it will build up and become a problem.
Well, I think when I've talked a lot in the past, I've made the mistake of acting like that the pH up was a utility, strictly utility, and not a big part of the line.
Well, and that's why we added in, it's such a big part of the line, and we've had a farm down here who 3 of his friends hate it, the line. And it just never tastes good. The terpene profiles were never there. Everything looked fine. It looked like pretty much a standard nutrient line, but they didn't see the huge difference.
Yeah.
Then we come to find out that they're all using a different form of pH up adjuster. And I guess where we failed as a company is we call Olympus Up pH up.
Yeah.
When really we should just call it
the one that makes stuff go up.
Yeah, it happens to go up. Well, so does Zeus. Zeus is a 9 pH. This just happens to be a 13. So it's literally just liquid limestone, but more importantly, it's food. It's a food source for the plants. It definitely curbs the sugar content, the bricks of the plant, the flavors, So when guys that hated us then tried our Olympus Up with the line, totally different plant. So ideally, baking soda away. It's only going to do more. It's like an emergency thing. It's acceptable.
I got you.
But it's not a good source for a regular pH up. It's not a cheap version, or else you'd see baking soda on every hydroponic shelf. But Olympus Up that comes in your sample kit, that's what we choose to use. That's what you're going to see the best. If you use another GH or another pH up product like General Hydro, Botanicare, Canna, any of these other ones, they're designed to work with the chemistry in their product line. So I wouldn't use my Olympus Up with Botanicare because it's not going to take it up the same way.
Same thing. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
It's made to work together. It's
when
you start mixing and matching that you can get real issues.
Yep.
Okay. That guy over there. 1, 2, 3. Apologies if this has been covered already. It has. I don't know what he's going to say yet, but it's
one
been covered.
point, it definitely has been talked about.
But I have a quart of chaos that was stored outside, like in the winter last year, along with some other bottles. Is there a negative effect on bloom chaos, or other nutrients for that matter, from a freeze-thaw cycle? Insight on this would be much appreciated. You know, we've covered this, but I don't think we've covered it as a separate video or a thing of like, you know, what you need to do if you freeze this stuff.
What I need to do is take a video, go out swimming one day in nice cold water, and take some adult videos showing what happens to a man when he gets in cold water. That's the only thing
I
that
got
happens.
shrinkage!
Huh? Considerable shrinkage. So for the most part, with the active ingredients in chaos, if they freeze, it's fine.
Okay.
The trick with all of our products freezing,
Uh-huh.
which is crazy, we're talking about that, August 2nd today?
Yeah.
When this gets aired.
Yeah.
Previously filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Wow, wow, wow.
Why do they still have 70s porn music on all of those?
You know, someone that wasn't just like a recorded thing. That guy
No, they
did
used to
that.
play. Yeah.
He did that. Like he was like doing that for the show.
In the room. Hey guys, go ahead and start doing it. Use that synthesizer. Like they did in 70s hockey games. They had organ players doing that.
They did that at the baseball games too sometimes.
So back to the freezing question.
Yes. It shrinks.
It shrinks. But with it, that doesn't, because it's just liquids.
Yeah.
So nothing harms it. What hurts our products is heat. Heat will hurt our products. Direct sunlight hurts our product. UV hurts our products. And in intense loads too. So it has to be like sustaining 105 degree days for 10 straight days might start breaking the proteins down.
Don't store this stuff in your attic.
Don't put it in the attic with a skylight.
Yeah.
Because that'd be bad. But freezing, the trick with if you get freezing products from us, the best thing to do is let them come back to room temperature naturally. Don't heat them up. Don't speed up the proteins.
Put it in the garage, not the house. Let it just
let it come in. Or you can put it in the house in the winter because it's only 70 at that
I
point.
gotcha.
But just let it thaw. Then shake the heck out of all of them except for Chaos, Poseidon, Hygeia, Athena, and Zeus.
Yeah.
But everything else that was naturally thick, now all that stuff that was thick is now solid.
Oh, it shrunk down.
Down
Yes.
into
Okay.
the
So
bag.
you really got to maybe lay it on its
Stretch
side, let it move a little bit, shake it, the whole thing.
But don't artificially heat it because you'll be destroying the proteins and that will turn to spoilage.
Okay. What do you think about putting stainless steel bolts or rocks or things in your bottle to use for shaking?
Stainless steel I can see for sure. Just a big bolt.
Yeah. It's like, when you get the rattle can of paint. It's kind of the same
nut,
principle.
right?
A nut. Yeah, well, a nut, yeah.
A bolt and a
bolt
nut.
wouldn't be good. A nut would be good.
I think that's surface area really. That has edges. Don't put a marble in. That's a lot of people do marbles, but it's a nice round surface going through gum, so it just doesn't grab and shred and rip. Which is nothing you want to do to your bag if you go swimming in cold water and shred and rip. It just sounds awful.
This sounds terrible. We're going to keep moving. Presto Ernesto! My pH is always 7.2 to 7.5. Why did I do that voice?
I don't know.
Presto, we're going to start over.
Presto.
Presto Ernesto. My pH is always 7.2 to 7.5 cocoa or soil. Any tip? I end up feeding 5.5 to 5.9 and more than I want, and more often than want, not because I want to, but just to keep them fed. So he's having to go super low to get that back. That's a problem, right?
Yeah, I got a bunch of questions on that one that we're gonna. And this is where emailing thebeard@organsonly.com is gonna help us. But I need to know, what's going on? Like, why? Are you buying your soil and cocoa at that level, or is it just from your waters residually raising your pH over time? Is it your pH meter's faulty or failed?
Well, let me ask you this: if you're at 7.2 to 7.5, wouldn't you still be try to be at 6.1 or 6.2 or somewhere in there with your feed to at least get something where they're going to get
he's
their
trying
need?
to do those feed and buffer at the same time, trying to bring that pH down in its medium while still offering food sources.
Can you split those two up?
Kinda, but
can you water at a low pH or something? Or how?
Yeah, that's what I do is water lower pH and feed at 6.2. So I'm always giving them the food, and then on my water or tea days, just kind of going on a lower pH. But I'd want to find out why. Because if you can solve the why to this, then and go back to just normal feedings.
What he's saying with cocoa or soil, so maybe it's his water or something of that nature, or it's got something in it where it's like. So can you get the water where you're like pHing it down, but it's still reacting in a way that's bringing your pH up in your soil or something?
Well, limestone, because if you react it so much but not all the way, just like our Olympus Up is, let's say, 75 to 80% solubilized, there's still 15 to 20% that's not. That's a fleck, and that stuff is the stuff that will slowly rise up in your solution or in potting soil to buffer the pH. So if he's got high pH water to start, which I'm guessing his water has to be at like 8.5.
So would you maybe like pH your water
before, that's what I would do. Yeah.
pH your so it's down.
Well, because if he's mixing up the nutrients right out of the tap, so tap water, mix everything up, and then it's at 6.3 and watering, then it's going to residually build up because the limestone's never been reacted in his natural water.
So you would go in there and pH down the water, then pH up to where you want to be.
pH on the water, mix all the nutrients, then pH it back up.
Right, okay.
But I wouldn't even, a lot of guys are like, I pH it down to 6, then I add all my foods to 4, and then I pH it back up to 6.4. It's like, well, now you're just spending money.
Yeah.
So you're better off if you have like 8.4 water, pHing that down to like 7.
So if he's doing this in cocoa or soil, the variables are the water or something else that we don't know about.
Water is meters taking the dump on them. Because if you're...
So let me ask you that. When you have situations like this where you are confused, but your plant is still happy.
Well, is it?
I don't know. We don't know.
He just says he has to feed them a lot.
I mean,
if it's still happy and this is all happening, then your meter's probably screwed up. And you just have to get that recalibrated. Because something's not... You can't feed a plant at 4.9.
No.
And have it be happy.
Well, at least it's 5.5 to 5.9 is where he is.
5.5.
Yeah,
still unless you're running pure synthetics.
Yeah. So, what do you do with that? You get some litmus paper or something to test to see if your meter's right, or you just calibrate your meter and...
Yeah, you just put it in calibration
solution. So your meter should calibrate.
You take it back to the hydro store and have them do it.
I gotcha. Okay. So, but could be some other things going on.
There's a lot more
things. Water. But there's many issues, and you want to know why it's doing that.
I'd rather figure out why. I mean, I'm not a... Yeah. There's 4 answers there, possibly.
Okay. Last question. Seems like we've just flown through them.
Kind of.
Easy does it. Easy does it says, instead of top dressing or mixing one shot into soil, could I just make a tea and feed that way?
You can. It's just a waste.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, obviously there's microbial stuff going on with the one shot, but that's not really the thrust of it. It's a feed thing, right?
It's a soil food.
It's for the microbes in the food, and that's why it's got the molasses in there, so they grab onto that, and then they eat what else is in there.
Molasses is literally the glue that holds all of our powders together to make it into that ball.
But it's also the syrup on the pancake a little bit for the microbes.
It's carbon for the microbes to want to consume and break it down, but they're meals to start. I mean, kelp meal is not soluble, bone meal is not soluble, azomite is not soluble. They all have to be digested.
Yeah.
So by soaking them, you're getting maybe 1% of its value as a tea.
As opposed to just using some Gaia.
Well, and that's it. Gaia literally is it broken down in 12 weeks of digestion. So it's a available form of one shot. One shot is to put in the soil so it gives you the backup to the bottles, or if you put enough in, it's just a standalone slow release of nutrition. So people use it in their compost tea bags. Honestly, it's not cost effective, and you're not getting the benefit that you think you would be.
Well, let me ask you this though: if you were brewing a tea, full on brewing a tea, not using it as a tea, but brewing a tea, would that be like a better substitute for using the molasses in there?
No, because molasses is so cheap
that you're
paying $4 a pound at retail, or molasses is $4 for a half gallon, and that's going to do 64 gallons worth of tea.
So you could, but it makes no sense. There's no advantage to it over
in there even for it to last a 24-hour cycle for the microbes to live on. They're still going to need more food source to eat, or they'll eat each other. So I love it when people want to give us money for one shot, but it's not going to be...
That's not what it's for.
It's not effective that way. And actually, you're better off brewing a worm casting tea, or if you get something like, Grain-Fed had that awesome worm compost. His castings were like a vermicompost. That has all your humates, all your bacteria, all your fungi. You brew with that, then you just water in over the one shot, and that will activate it faster.
Okay. So you can modulate the uptake of your one shot through your
tea.
tea.
Through more teas. Yeah, do more teas, they eat more food, less one shot at the end.
If you were doing that, if you were doing only only one shot, would you push harder in bloom with more teas and use more one shot, or in veg, or what would it affect your bloom and veg cycle?
Ask that again?
So I'm using just one shot.
Yeah.
Would I push harder on the teas in a bloom or a veg cycle, or
depends
just
on what you want?
What you're trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to grow huge plants and you got a whole lot of one shot laid down, then you want to tea them all the time.
I got you.
If you're just trying to enhance bloom and you're fine with the veg as is, then hammer more of the bloom cycle. The trick is making sure there's enough one shot for the amount of teas you're giving.
How do you know?
Slurry tests.
So you're going to see that in a slurry test?
You're going to see that it's accelerated numbers. I mean, if you saw the numbers from bottle feeding that you'd see from just having one shot in the soil, they would shock you, because you're like, wow, why is it at 800?
Yeah.
You know, it's 800 because you solubilized it sitting in the cup. It doesn't mean that that's what's always available constantly to the plant.
Okay.
But when we do water or bottle feeding and we do that slurry test, that's
it.
Every time you hydrate it, that's what they get. So, to me, it's the one shot. I believe in less is more, and frequently applying it throughout the season, so that way you can control how much is going to be there at the end by just top dressing more regularly.
Well, and you're going to be using more as you go, because you got more plant, right? I mean, I would assume.
Ideally. Well, I mean, I know a lot of guys that take 25 pounds, put them in 200 to 400 gallons of soil, and it's there for the whole season, and they're good to go. So it really depends on plant size, container size. Because if you're in a 3-gallon pot, you put 4 ounces of one shot on there, and you're going to go 12 weeks in a tent, it's not going to be there at the end because there's no soil left at the end. They'll eat that thing down. There'll be just a solid mass of roots and no dirt, so then clearly there's no more one shot. 400-gallon outdoor pot, it's got a big root mass, but there's still soil that's in there that they're still pulling reserves out of.
Oh, and they just haven't found it yet because their roots aren't filling the entire thing.
Right. And there's bacteria delivering it through waste products, so they're eating it over here in this pocket, but it's being pooped on over here and every time you hydrate, that poop is soluble, so it just goes right up over the root zone. So it doesn't have to be making contact, it doesn't have to be up against the roots.
It's getting the water is making it a soup.
Yeah, the microbes are making it into a usable food, and the water turns it into absorbable. And that's about as layman as that gets, because there's nothing scientific on that.
Yes.
Nothing I said there. You will not find that shit in the textbook.
I was not sciencing at that point.
No science in here. You science elsewhere now.
All right. I think that's it.
That's it. Just, getting into the summer. It's time to be August. It's time for bloom. This is it. This is your bloom time. If you're outdoors, this is bloom time. It's going to start. A lot of questions next week are, when do I start the early bloom stage outdoors? I don't know. Do you have any flower sites starting? Once you see flower sites, just date back 5 to 7 days. That was your beginning of flowering.
You missed it.
Yeah, it's too late. Just tell them in or give them to your friends. Don't do that. But once you start to see any sign of flowering, that's when I say just get 1 week of early bloom, then go into mid bloom.
Okay.
You'll be fine. The nice thing about this nutrient line is you're not missing. There's no perfect schedule. So if all of a sudden you notice flowers and you're in late veg, if you look at the late veg and early bloom, there's not a whole lot of difference between those two stages for a reason. Transition them in and just start feeding them more, and they'll be fine. On that, that's it.
The OCG Fam Show.